Welcome everyone to Dalton Farm in Fallout 4. This is my settlement build. Before we start, just a heads up, I'm going to be changing the weather while we're doing this, just so that we can, well, you guys can see better what I've been doing. Because the weather actually gets very bad here, so then you can't see anything. So, just for the purpose of the video, we're going to be changing the weather. Okay, so this is the basic entrance of the farm right over here. There's a little road that goes in. And right in front you can see I've got some defenses up here. Now there's no enemy spawn points on this side, but there is one down there which I'm going to show you guys in a second. And in my opinion, this is actually the most dangerous settlement to have in Far Harbor because of the things that spawn most of the time, which I'm going to show you in a second. So let's make our way down here. Okay, so we got some defenses, some lights up.
What are you looking at?
Security over here. Jeez, you're not very nice. Okay, we got a little security checkpoint there. We got one over there. And now here, we've got an enemy spawn point back here somewhere. Where is it? There we go. And this is the only one for the whole settlement is back here. But the things that spawn here, like that mister over there, gulpers, and the one main thing that spawns a lot in the settlement is those fog crawlers. And half the time, well, in my experience that I've had so far, they are legendary gulpers and legendary fog crawlers. So they pack a punch, especially the frog crawlers. They are real mean. I even had a giant crab spawn here once. So we've got some heavy duty defenses set up over here. As you can see here, I've got all this stuff here. And this is now covering the entire beach area. So this will now cover all the way down here. And all the way to there. Because those, when they spawn here, they all spawn at like a couple of seconds apart from each other. So you get a fog crawler which is still fighting. And then all of a sudden there's like 10 gulpers coming out of nowhere. And they go all over the place. I've had times here when they spawn here and they actually killed some of my settlers that I had here. So let me see, actually how many do I have now? Okay, I set this place up for 24 people. Okay, yeah, I had more people than that at one stage. I think I actually had like 27 or 28, somewhere around there. So you got to be very careful and have the proper defenses. That's why I built up this concrete wall over there. For extra protection and things. So you see it goes all the way into the border over there. It goes all the way down to that way. So at least it'll help contain anything that spawns on that location. But they come around, they come running down here in the water and they just attack everything. Now, I didn't do too much on the beach side here because of the attacks and things like that. But something that's very strange, you can see all these settlers wandering over here. For some reason, they just like walking in this little area. I don't know why. So, I'll let them be. And there's a lot of things you can scrap and clean up, and seaweed and plants and things like that. There's usually something, yeah, I just cleaned up and put a plank over it. Got a couple of sitting areas and workbenches here to make the people do something on this side. Took out all the garbage and got a little couple of barrels standing around. Now a couple of things are going to slightly be floating like this one. Because some of the ground is a little bit off. We can always try and just move it according to where you want it. But some of the ground is also glitched like this. See there, there's a gap underneath. But you find that in a lot of settlements, that there are some areas where the ground is glitched out and you can't really do anything about it unless you physically build up like this. So you can see how the weather, my eyes are very sensitive to light, so for me it's even worse than trying to build in Far Harbor. Okay, so back to the entrance. Okay, so we've got our trading post things over there. And then, yeah, I built up a little bar area for people to sit and drink and eat and whatever they want to do. We've even got that little bar over here. It adds to the happiness of the settlement. So these guys got a little bit of entertainment. This is obviously right by the water, so we've got some fishing things over here. And here's our farming area, which got enough food for them to grow. And of course it's a Minutemen settlement, as all the settlements are. See all these things I can take. I can actually delete all of this stuff, but then it takes away the natural look of the settlement. Depending on mods and things that you play with and whatever. So even these rocky areas you can take out. Here's one of those platforms that used to be here that you can delete half of it. Okay, we've got our water supply. So we're pretty much covered with defenses from this point all the way around to there, because we got a couple of turrets in between. Okay, we got our security people over there. Obviously the weapons and stuff like that over there. So this side is water, so there's not really much to worry about. But there is a possibility that now and again you might get a gulper or something that's half swimming in the water down there. This weather changes so quickly you can't hardly see anything. Okay, so there we got our scavenger tables, and this is our little power shed and workshop. So you can see we've got a couple of workbenches in here with our very important armor stand, which you should have in every single settlement you go to. And our also very important beacon, which I always like to build half the roof here with a hole in it to accommodate the beacon. Now something I actually tried to do with this settlement, and that was to build the power supply using, well, a different power supply. But the problem is with a lot of these things, now if you look at your generators, where is electricity? Now this one produces 3, then you got 5, that's 10, and then it goes to 3 and then jumps up these huge things. They should have had something in between from, you know, a 10 to a 3. And some of these things are a little bit unnecessary, using that much power. But they should have had like 20s or 50 generators or something in here. Otherwise you could have stick like 10 generators all over the place to power your settlement. So that's why I go with this one. This one is usually sufficient for everything in the settlement. Now, because you look, these lights here is 1, so if you've got 50 lights, that's already 50 power, and you've got these here, which you need another 8 or 10 power, and then you've got all other little things like that, and then it usually adds up to anything between 50 and 100. So that's usually the go-to generator for most settlements. Okay, well, there we got our power, which I had to build up on this platform, because nothing is flat in the settlement, obviously. Everything is, that's on a platform, that's on a platform, that's on a platform. So anywhere you build, you're gonna have uneven ground. And then here's the sleeping areas. So they put everything has been built with scrap in this place. So yeah, we just got your basic beds, and these are usually the best beds to go for, because it's small. First of all, as you'll see in all my settlements, I actually use this beds. If you compare it to the size of this bed, it's nearly double the size. It takes up more space, you know, and the materials is basically the same. You got this one, which is fairly small, but then you got this big steel frame around it. That's too big. These are just mattresses, and then you got this, which doesn't always match. And this is a very clean looking type of bed, but it's also big. And obviously you've got the sleeping bags, but you want the people to have a proper looking bed. So this is usually the go-to bed I use. Once again, depending on what mods you play with or what type of build you want to do. And I kept everything kind of simple in here. Table, candles. Yeah, Far Harbour's hasn't got a lot of the luxuries that the Commonwealth has. And obviously it's an island, so resources are a little bit limited. We've got a bit of sitting areas, storage, and that's about it. There's nothing too crazy going on in there. Try to keep these guys simple. You do have these trees. I think by default you can actually scrap these trees if I'm not mistaken. They should be scrappable. I think in default you can. But I left them usually. I think there's 3 of them in here. 1, 2. I think that one's inside the building area, but I'm not sure.
All the soda you can drink.
But that is basically the entire Dalton farm. So as I said, the one important thing to remember is the spawn location, which is down there, which is very dangerous. That one is on over there. Other than that, you can pretty much build anywhere. You can scrap most of the things on there even without mods and things like that. What else? Well, it's up to you. Your building style. Okay, well guys, there's a basic overview of Dalton Farm. Hope it helps with your build. I'll see you guys again in the next one. Cheers.
Not a bad job manning the soda fountain.